Thank you, friend. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to you all. Always a pleasure to see you. Last week it was Israel Independence Day. She turned 68, a country that began with a few 100,000 refugees and survivors of man's great inhumanity to man. Throwaways which no country wanted, and they fought against all odds, hatreds, tens of millions of neighbors who wanted them destroyed to stand where they are now. Country of almost 9 million, which leads the world in technology, agrarian growth and development, alternative fuels, is a permanent home to world Jewry. A place where whatever happens in your life, whatever disaster may befall, is a welcome shelter from the storm. And that, my friends, is a hell of a feeling. Happy birthday, and may there be many, many more. Now, I hope you're all now enjoying the nicer weather, the longer days, the beauty of life. So if you want to skip a week of Torah reading or two, see you soon. Because this is it. These last few weeks of Leviticus are about as dull and repetitive and boring as it gets. And of course, there's a lot more repetition when we get to Deuteronomy, the book of words, a book which does not fit in many ways. After we return to the great adventure in Numbers, which should be around June 11th, right? And really should have just been the continuation after Exodus. But for those who persevere or check the site, I will continue to try and find something interesting, something innovative, something inviting in each parsha we look at. But believe me, I certainly understand if you want to skip a few more weeks, this is the time to do it. Well, friends, we're still in the Holiness Code, except now we're focusing on the group that ensures and carries out that holiness. This is Emor. Say. Say you. Say me. Say it for always. That's the way it should be. Say you, say me. Say it together. Naturally. You know what? We should do so much more together. It should be a natural thing for us to want to do things together. It would be a much better world. Well, there's no doubt who would have written this parsha as it opens, because it partially describes the exalted position of the priest. So if you think the priest wrote it, I guarantee the priest wrote it. It's about his wife, his daughter, his status, even about his own perfection. You see, to serve God, he had to have no imperfections. Why? Is this just segregating themselves as a class, superior to others perhaps? Or is it because they, like the animal sacrifices, had to have no imperfections to be worthy of God, who some think may have strayed past the all are his to only special people are his? And that is certainly more of a God made in the image of man than man made in the image of God. It's kind of like Animal Farm, where all animals are equal, but some are more equal. Here, all men are holy, but some are more holy. Now, even though it appears that way, that's really not the case. Although you can make a case for anything. It's not that priests are better. They simply serve a special role, and that role requires them to, like a good judge, rise to greater heights, not be swayed by personal opinion or bias, and help guide the people learning to live by God's laws. And that's what this is about. Make no mistake, we are being presented with a series of laws encompassing every aspect of life, because they are social, ritual, moral, ethical. See, priests are still holy in a singular way because of their role. The matter of degree between the people's holiness and the priest's holiness, now that's going to become an issue in the matter of Korah's rebellion in Numbers. So like I say, if you want to knock off the rest of Leviticus, knock off, but come back for Numbers. It's pretty good. Now, the priest could still serve in minor capacities only if he were defective at all. It sounds terrible to call him defective, but Leviticus 21:23, he shall not come in by the curtain, nor shall he draw near to the altar, for there is a defect in him. And he shall not profane my sanctuaries, for I am the Lord who hallows you. Now, just as the animal offered in sacrifice must be unblemished, the officiant offering the sacrifice must too be without blemish, because he's a representative. Now, we've just celebrated the Festival of Freedom, and we read regarding the sacrifice made by the priest, and should a priest buy a person as the purchase of his silver, that person may eat of it, and he who is born in his household. So it's about what transpires with the priest in his household. And again, the purity of the priest is a contagion and spreads throughout his household, right? So that whoever he buys can eat of it, and his own family can eat of it. But notice that the ownership of others is part of the society. Slavery was different than we think of it. Maimonides could comment that a slave could have the mentality of a free man, while a free man could have the mentality of a slave, because freedom and what determines true slavery is about the fears that rule you. And this is about a priest and how a priest makes holy everything he touches, and that's why he needed to be without defect. And what we also have in this parsha is the calendar is set for all the sacred gatherings in the Torah. In Leviticus 23:1, and it's pretty straightforward. These are the fixed times of the Lord, which you shall call sacred convocations. These are my fixed times. 6 days shall tasks be done, and on the seventh day, an absolute Sabbath, a sacred convocation, no task shall you do. It's a Sabbath for the Lord in all your dwelling places. These are the fixed times of the Lord, sacred convocations, which you shall call in their fixed time. In the first month, on the 14th of the month, at twilight, a Passover offering to the Lord, and on the 15th day of this month, a festival of flatbread to the Lord. 7 days shall you eat flatbread. Now notice, friends, the fixed dates start with Shabbat, a ceasing. Not a day. Don't think of it as a Saturday or a Friday night or a day. It's a ceasing. Shabbat means simply to cease. And then it goes into the particular holidays. Then it continues with the next one. And you shall count from the morrow of the Sabbath, from the day you bring the elevation sheaf, 7 whole weeks shall they be, till the morrow of the 7th Sabbath. You shall count 50 days. You shall bring forward a new grain offering to the Lord. And of course, the holiday of Shavuot is this 7-week later holiday, right? So we're given the Passover, the 7 days of flatbread, then 7 weeks later, this holiday that we now call Shavuot, which is basically 7. And then it goes on. In the 7th month, on the 1st of the month, you shall have a Sabbath, a commemoration with horn blast, a sacred convocation. And that day, of course, has been conscripted as Rosh Hashanah. On the 10th of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement. A sacred convocation it shall be for you, and you shall afflict yourselves and bring forward a fire offering to the Lord. And then the schedule of fixed times is all wrapped up. On the 15th day of this 7th month, a festival of huts. 7 days to the Lord. And this festival of huts, we all know, is Sukkot. Well, there you go. It's all laid out. Nice and easy. The appointed times, the fixed times, call them what you may, but it's really straightforward. There's not that many of them. There's a couple. But what do you notice? Explanation of the background and purposes of the holidays. Well, these are things that are only of a concern of Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. The concern of Leviticus is simply to instruct the people on how to observe them properly. That's all. Notice also, 2 of the holidays are unnamed. The first fruits one and the horn blowing one on the first day of the 7th month. And each is accompanied by instructions on how to observe, not why we observe. And in fact, all but one have a date associated with them, and only one has historical association. And that single exception, my friends, is about living in booths during the Feast of Sukkot in order to remember that Yahweh had Israel live in booths when he brought them out of Egypt. I bet you thought it was Passover that was going to have the association. No, just Sukkot. And notice, my friends, that the months are not named. They are simply numbered, and everybody understood what the numbering system was and when the year began. So, how do we maintain holiness? Is it by memorizing dates? Is it by following these laws as they're written? No. We do that today by being an example to those we teach. And we teach everyone who comes after us. We are all holy. And holiness is a contagion. We spread holiness like sunshine in our being an example to others. We have no priests anymore. We've become a rabbinic culture, and the primary role of the rabbi is to teach. Yes, you are all holy, and you're all teachers. And so that's what this parsha is about. Now, there's one other really significant matter of note in this parsha, which is almost never talked about. And I just want to throw it out to you. It's further evidence that in biblical times, a person's identification was actually based on the father. That is, on patrilineal descent. In every case that we've encountered so far, the woman and the children take the ethnic and religious identity of the woman's husband. Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, Rachel, Zipporah, and their children. And all sons of Levite fathers are Levites, regardless of the tribal origins of the mothers. Likewise, all tribal identification is through the father. And this continues through the Tanakh until the time of Ezra and Nehemiah. At that point, it appears to change, because when Nehemiah opposes marriages of Jewish men to women from certain other groups, he instructs that their children be excluded. That's when the change took place. So in post-biblical Judaism, identification came to be based on the mother, which is our matrilineal descent. In the Torah, however, it follows the father in every case. And that we're made an example of in this little minor story that comes up in this parsha. Identification by patrilineal descent, in addition to matrilineal descent, not in place of it, is at present a matter of dispute among all the movements in Judaism. And it's so easy to miss here, but it's something that you should really think about. And there's been changes in it, and there will probably continue to be all kinds of changes in it. The world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life, the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them, live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. Men and women equally. We share this ride together. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And we all do need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. There, you'll hear me say it a lot. Take advantage of the time you have together. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our efforts to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. The time to celebrate your holiness is now, is always. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light and peace and healing, and honor the people in your life. I think it's Memorial Day weekend coming up, and everybody's probably going to have a fantastic springtime. They say prayer has the power to heal. So pray for me, Mother. In the human heart, an evil spirit can dwell. I'm trying to love my neighbor and do good unto others. But, oh, Mother, things ain't going well. Ain't talking, just walking. through this weary world of woe. Heart burning, still yearning. No one on earth would ever know. Keep talking, my friends. Don't stop talking ever. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. It is a contagion. And thank you all for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic week. I will see you all next time. Shabbat Shalom. Take care. Always a pleasure. Thanks again. Bye.